Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over how to build different sorts of roofs in Minecraft and how to make them look pretty cool. So I've got a bunch of ideas and examples here for you to check out. And I'll also sprinkle in some other things that I've done in the past that might help you. So first you want to think about what style you're going for. So like what style of roof will suit your build. So here I've got 4 different styles. You could do a flat roof with like just like a patio on the top, or you could have just like a flat roof with just a few little details on the top. These tend to work for bigger builds or with certain styles. For example, this would work really well with Mediterranean styles, or it would really work really well for like tall buildings. And then you could also do like a very slanted roof, which tends to work better for like fantasy builds or like medium-sized homes. You could do like 45-degree slants, which tends to work, like it's a very simple roof design, but it tends to work for like small to medium builds. Or you could just have it slanted in one direction, which works really well with flatter builds. It doesn't really matter whether it's wide or not, it just works better with flatter builds. So the roof should be in proportion with the size of the build. This build would work better with either a very flat roof or a slightly tilted build. It just sort of works like that. But the roof size should generally, unless it's something like this, be in proportion with the body of the build. So here, it looks like it's in proportion with the rest of the build. It doesn't look like it's super big, like the build is about to fall over, but it also doesn't look super tiny, that there's not enough roof there to cover it. Here, the overhang looks really dramatic, but that's only because it's a really skinny build. But if you go here, like on this side, it looks in proportion. It's a fairly tall build with a fairly tall roof, and it just sort of works. So once you've figured out the style of build and like the shape you want for your roof, you want to think about what sort of shapes, like other shapes and textures can you add. So you could add like rivets in your roof like this, or you could have sort of like this. You could add make it curved, or you could even add like just like trimming on the top and the sides that is like a different level to that here. So you could add like trimming like over there, but make it so that goes above what is already there. And you can also add overhang. I do this with all of my roofs. I didn't actually quite finish this, but you can add overhangs so that it looks kind of nice. It looks better on like these sorts of builds, or like here. Overhangs just make everything better. You could also add like lots of windows, or like add in like full blocks. Like up here you could add in some full blocks where there might be like where it's supposed to be something else, just to add in a little bit of texture. It works really well with this copper because it looks a bit aged. Like especially this bit, it looks a bit aged and worn out, and like the copper's bent and weathered over time. So yeah, what textures can you add to your build? And then you want to think about the block palette you're going for. So you've got the shape of your roof, you've got the texture of your roof, in regards to like the different level, like depths and levels. What block palette are you going to use? So you could use a rim on your build, or you could just use it for like the ends, or you could use different blocks for different parts of the roof. And with that you can use texturing blocks. So here I've mixed in warped wood with dark prismarine, and it works really well together. These tend to work. There's a bunch of block combinations that get used a lot. So like I've done over here, you could use bricks and terracotta and granite and smooth granite, and you could use like calcite and diorite and those sorts of things. If your build doesn't need many what are these called, stairs. But yeah, find different blocks that you can texture in, because right up close it might not look the greatest, but if you go further away it just pops that little bit more because it's not one block color. It's just that bit more interesting. And then like, what other blocks could you use? Could you like stripe your roof if that works? Like this? Could you stripe it like this and make these like different colors? Like, could you make this birch? Like, how can you add more to your roof and make it look better? But also, don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it too complicated. Make it look... it just needs to be there and look kind of nice and tie in with the rest. You don't need to add 7 colors for it to look good. Just small details make all the difference. And then you want to think of what details you can add to the roof. So up here I've got some glass panes and then some pot plants that just make this roof look really nice. If you were to do another flat roof like at the top of an apartment building or like an industrial building, you could put in like aircon vents or chimneys or other things. Like industrial chimneys. Or if you've got like something like this, you could add like a cozy sort of chimney. You could also, with like something like this or like this, you could add in a live roof with greenery and mix in maybe some moss or some grass into the roof to make it just look that little bit more. That works better with like fantasy builds that could plausibly fit in with this environments because, you know, they're magical and all. But yeah, what sort of details could you add? Some other roofs that you might use would be like tower roofs. These work really well with if you have like a base and then strapping around it and then a spiky thing on the top. And then just the color that sort of looks like it's a bit bulbous. Or if you're doing a modern build, you don't need anything at the top if you don't want to. Like, the roof can just be flat, but that's sort of like just a modern thing. And then like more like city sort of things, like you could do a flat roof like this with just some slabbing on the top. You could do something like this with some just added detail. And you can do like a similar thing but make it filled in. Just add the flat roofs are really, really annoying to make because they're so strange. But just experiment with some things. And then this is another cool roof because it's got the main roof, which is this dark oak simple thing. And then I brought it out and made an extension with a completely different block. And how it fits in tends to differ based on the build and how it feels, but I just like to make the build break any blocks where it just clearly doesn't make sense for it to be meshing together, and then look away until it looks good. But yeah, mixing different blocks on your roofs is something that I really want to try and do more of because it looks really cool when it's done. And then here's another example of a Mediterranean build. So I've made the roof into a balcony here, and then up here it's just got some slabs on the corners to make it look not just a little bit less square. And then over here is an example of how you can use the trimming and then a little bit of texture here, and then mixing in different blocks together, and then having a chimney in with that. And then you can also use slabs to make a very low slant if you wanted to, because it fit this build really nicely. And then I've also got another tower idea here. It's very similar, it just has a different base color. And then you could also think about adding like nice windows into your build, which might help. And varying the different like slants on your roof if it makes sense, if it looks good. I hope this video helped you. If it did, let me know in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more content like this, and I will see you very soon for another video.